Okay, so like everyone's always talking about how much technology has changed our lives, but like what about how it changes our relationships?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's such a huge topic.
It is.
You know?
It is.
I think in this deep dive, what we're going to do is just focus on some of the key insights that you sent over to us in these sources.
That sounds great.
So the first one is this article, The Impact of Technology on Human Relationships by Rishabh Gupta. And then the second one is this web page from CoreSidekick.com. And it's also about the impact of technology on human relationships.
Got it.
And I think what we're going to try to do is kind of explore both the positive and negative impacts, because it's not all good or bad. It's kind of
it's a nuanced topic.
nuanced. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess to kick things off, it's kind of a no-brainer that technology allows us to connect with people across huge distances.
Yeah.
You can video call with family who lives abroad, or you can like find these super niche communities online, people who are into the same like super specific hobbies as you.
Like underwater basket weaving.
Exactly. Or, even dating apps.
Totally.
Like swiping right to find a potential date.
Absolutely. Like who would have thought?
So in a lot of ways, it seems like technology has totally like revolutionized how we build relationships.
I think it's definitely expanded the possibilities, but it's interesting. This article by Gupta, it kind of focuses mostly on the positive stuff. And it does say that technology can be like a valuable tool, but it has to be used mindfully. But I'm like, what does that even mean?
Right.
When we're like constantly getting all these notifications and updates, like how do you even be mindful about it?
Totally. And that's where I feel like that Core Sidekick content kind of gets more interesting, Way
more realistic, I think.
Yeah. They bring up this whole concept of like digital FOMO.
Oh, yeah.
Fear of missing out. And I feel like social media just like totally amplifies that. Like we're constantly seeing these carefully curated versions of other people's lives.
Yeah, it's all highlight reel.
Yeah. And then we're like, oh my gosh, my life is so boring compared to that.
Totally. And I think that the Core Sidekick page even cited some research that showed that all the social media use, can actually be linked to anxiety and depression.
Oh, wow.
Like, especially for young people, because it's like you're constantly comparing yourself to like the best versions of other people.
It's like comparing your like behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel.
Totally. Yeah.
Ugh. It's so true though. Like I definitely feel that sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
And it makes me wonder about like, if it's harder to really like connect with people in a meaningful way because of all this.
Yeah.
Like when was the last time you had a deep conversation with someone where you're both like totally present? Right.
Like no phones, no distractions, just like actual conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that is a big downside of all this technology. Core Sidekick talks about how all this information overload and like the pressure to be perfect online, like it makes it harder to have those like real genuine conversations. Like we're so used to like filtering everything and presenting this perfect version of ourselves that it's like scary to just be ourselves and be vulnerable.
Right. Like it makes me kind of want to like chuck my phone in the ocean and just like go live in a cabin in the woods.
Right.
I'm kidding, but like only kind of.
Yeah.
Like I'm not actually going to do that, but
I get it.
It's tempting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way.
So is a digital detox like the answer?
I mean, it could be a good way to like reset and reconnect with yourself.
Yeah.
But I don't think we have to like completely disconnect from technology. It's more about finding a balance. Like, technology is a tool, and like any tool, you can use it for good things or bad things.
Right. So like how do we actually strike that balance?
Well, I think it starts with just being aware of how you feel when you're using technology. Like, do you feel connected or do you feel drained and anxious? And then try setting some boundaries. Like maybe have certain times of the day where you just like don't use your phone at all.
Okay.
And like don't forget about face-to-face interactions.
Yeah.
Like those are so important for building strong relationships.
Totally. And it's like what Gupta was saying about like video calls with family far away.
Yeah.
Like that's great, but it shouldn't replace like actually visiting them in person.
Totally. Technology can be a bridge.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a substitute.
Exactly. So like the main takeaway here is that technology isn't good or bad.
Right.
It's all about how we use it.
Exactly.
And it's about being mindful and intentional and really prioritizing those genuine human connections.
I completely agree.
So something that I haven't really seen talked about that much, but it's been on my mind,
Okay.
is like our sources have focused on like relationships with other people.
Right.
But what about our relationship with ourselves?
Oh, that's interesting.
Like, how does all this constant connectivity affect, like, how we see ourselves? Our self-esteem?
Yeah.
Our ability to just, like, be alone with our thoughts?
That's a good point.
It's something to think about.
It is.
Well, this has been such a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And to all of you listening out there,
Yeah.
we would love to hear your thoughts on this.
Absolutely.
How has technology changed your relationships? Let us know.
Yeah, share your thoughts.
We're all ears.
Definitely.
All right, that's it for today.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.